squash and pumpkin patch. And it's not really in the garden. It's really in between the garden and the place Trie calls Hagrid's Haven. Today, I'm going to be showing you how I grow lots and lots and lots and lots of pumpkins and squashes. So, let's take a look. So this squash and pumpkin patch is not one of my garden experiments for this year. It's how my dad grows squash every year. And what does he know about gardening? He has a degree in viticulture, which is all about grapevines. Did you know pumpkins and squash and tomatoes are also vines? He likes to grow them too, but he doesn't spend much time in the garden. So if you stay tuned, you'll see how we grow lots and lots of squash and pumpkins with only 6 trips all year. And hear what our grape expert has to say about the dreaded squash bugs. Plus, stay tuned to the end to see what happened when the emus invade the garden. And if you like this video, please say so in the comments below and give me a thumbs up and share this video on your favorite media.
Thank you so much for being here. The Vineyard Chicks include me, DIY Trie, Bunkie, our little gardener, and Professor KK. And now back to the video.
So here are my squash back in May. I planted them May 1st or 2 weeks before my frost day. I planted about 70 pumpkin, spaghetti squash, and butternut squash because they store really well all winter. This is just after transplanting. And I'll tell you why this type is here in just a minute. But it's super important to the way we grow squash. This is our butternut squash. This will be pounds of squash. Have you figured out where the type's there yet? Here is our pumpkins. We grow white pumpkins, orange pumpkins, and little pie pumpkins too. Pumpkins and squash are in the cucumber family. We'll make pie out of these, I think. And you can see that this is my spaghetti squash. We like to put sauce, pasta sauce, over our spaghetti squash, and I made a video of how we do it in the oven and the Instant Pot. So if you want to see those, click up here. Aww, our emus are still small like a spaghetti squash. So a couple weeks after planting, we made our second trip to the squash and pumpkin patch. This black type is here to keep the weeds from growing in the soil. You'll see why this is important in just 1 minute. On that day, we moved this black type back about a foot away from the growing squash plants. And this is our squash. And the plants seem to want to go towards the black type because of the heat. Now, when the squash grow into this area where the ground is soft and has no weeds, they will set down new roots. Let me show you. Look at that. Look at it. It's only been here for a couple weeks, and this node is putting down a couple roots. It's kind of like a joint in your finger. These nodes can grow leaves or roots. And look how nice this dirt looks. Moist and loose and ready for a squash root. Can you see how the vines are getting closer to the type? This is squash bug strategy. Please leave us As the squash bugs burrow into older sections of the vine, the fruit is still receiving nutrients from the new roots in the fresh dirt. Science teachers call it evolution, and God called it be fruitful and multiply. Both mean squash bugs and squash have learned to live together. And the squash adapted to set new roots as the vine travels. And it will, if you let it or even help it, do its thing. Some people mound the fresh dirt around the pumpkin nodes. At Monticello Cellars, we just keep pulling back the top and it works for us. So by July, you can really see how the strategy works. The vines are moving along to the dirt side, and I cut away some of the growth growing towards the garden. The paths won't stay clear forever, but the goats really like these leaves, so cutting these back helps out both causes. Come on, watch how much they like these. And even though I'm most proud of my green thumb, Dad says I also have a golden arm, whatever that means. This is Mary the Cheshire Goat, Ed Bomber, and Tyen. They are part of the Rocco Kinshield clan. You know, KK's New Zealand dwarf goats.
Bunkie, they're Nigerian dwarfs, not Nigerian dwarfs.
Aw, look at Mary. So sweet. If you haven't seen how we rescued her from a miscarriage and raised her in the house, click on the link. Look, you can also see the Monticello Cellars ducks coming in from working in the vineyard here. Even though we don't go searching for squash bug eggs, we are more than happy to feed them to the chickens whenever we see them. On the garden side of the squash, I grew some extra zucchini, cucumbers, and sweet potatoes. And by late June, it's a jungle in the squash area. And even if it doesn't cost Dad a trip to the squash patch, I like to pick the male flowers for my pancakes. Check out this video to see how I made the squash blossom pancakes. Yep, little me last year. We didn't weigh our flowers for shed wars because it's ounces, but in the end of the summer, it had to be pounds. Nope, that one's a girl. That one stays. So we moved our type, and now that the type is moved, our vines can be roamed all the way to here, where the type ends. And so they have enough room, but they're still growing a lot. So most of them are on the type, but that's okay. Any day now, we'll take trip number 5 to bring in the squash for storage and shed more weigh-ins. This is how we grow epic amounts of squash every year, and I really hope I shared something useful to you. And as promised, here's some video of when the emus got out and made their way into the garden. Thanks so much for watching, and God bless.